In the vast emptiness of space, silence reigned supreme, until humanity decided to make some noise. The Council had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, their crystalline citadels and golden fleets a testament to their supposed superiority. They had called us primitive, labeled us as nothing more than talking apes who had stumbled upon spaceflight. Their biggest mistake? They assumed our centuries of warfare were a sign of barbarism rather than preparation. The CSS Vancouver hung in the void, her titanium alloy hull bearing the scars of 100 battles. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her weathered hands gripping the command rail as she watched the Council's supposedly impregnable fortress through the main viewport. The massive structure floated before them, its spiral towers and energy shields gleaming with an arrogance that made her blood boil. "They're hailing us again, Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his communications station, his voice carrying a hint of amusement. "The High Counselor demands our immediate surrender and says they'll show mercy if we submit to their authority." Sarah's lips curved into a smile that held no warmth. "Send them the same response as before. The United Earth Fleet sends its regards." She straightened her back, dark eyes fixed on the target ahead. "Weapons status." "All railguns charged, Captain. Missile tubes 1 through 60 loaded with planet crackers. The new quantum torpedoes are primed and ready." Chief Weapons Officer Thompson's fingers danced across his console, the holographic displays reflecting off his graying temples. "They still think their shields can handle anything we throw at them." The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, each member knowing their role in what was about to unfold. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, reverse engineering alien tech while secretly developing our own innovations. The Council's arrogance had led them to dismiss our potential, to ignore the signs that we weren't just copying their technology, we were surpassing it. "Energy spike detected," the sensor officer called out. "They're powering up their main weapon array." Sarah nodded, unperturbed. "Right on schedule. Battle stations, everyone. Let's show them why you don't corner a species that turned war into an art form." She pressed the ship-wide comm button. "All hands, this is the captain. Today we remind the Council why humanity doesn't kneel. Today we show them that their mistake wasn't in finding us, it was in underestimating us." The massive battleship's engines hummed to life, its revolutionary quantum drive systems, technology the Council believed impossible for primitive humans to develop, charging up. Around the CSS Vancouver, space itself seemed to ripple as their secret weapon prepared to deploy. "Signal the fleet," Sarah commanded, her voice steady and clear. "Operation Reckoning begins now." The Council's fortress loomed before them, its defenses prepared for any conventional attack. But they weren't ready for what humanity had planned. They weren't ready for the culmination of centuries of human ingenuity, determination, and the burning desire to prove our worth among the stars. As the first shots were about to be fired, as humanity prepared to change the galaxy forever, Sarah thought back to the Council's first message to Earth: submit or be erased. Their ultimatum had united humanity like nothing before, erasing old rivalries and borders. Now, as the CSS Vancouver's weapons came online, as the most powerful human fleet ever assembled decloaked behind them, that unity was about to bear fruit. The Council was about to learn a lesson that countless others throughout human history had learned the hard way: never back humanity into a corner. We don't just fight back, we revolutionize the art of warfare itself. And this was just the beginning. The strategic display lit up with thousands of points of light as the human fleet revealed itself. Sarah remembered the day just 3 years ago when the Council's ambassadors had walked through the United Nations, their crystalline forms radiating disdain for what they called our primitive architecture. They had expected us to be impressed by their technological displays, their casual demonstration of faster-than-light travel, their matter manipulation devices. Instead, human scientists had been quietly scanning and analyzing every piece of tech they brought to Earth. "Multiple energy signatures from the fortress, Captain," called out Lieutenant Wum from the sensor station. "They're bringing their secondary defense grid online." Her fingers flew across the holographic interface, compiling data faster than any Council species could process it. Another primitive innovation they hadn't seen coming: direct neural interfaces that let humans merge with their technology. The CSS Vancouver's quantum drive hummed louder, its pitch rising as it prepared to execute the maneuver they'd spent months practicing in secret. The Council believed faster-than-light travel required massive energy expenditure and complex calculations. They'd never imagined that humans would find a way to surf the quantum foam itself, riding the microscopic wrinkles in space-time like a wave. Status report on the fortress's shield configuration, Sarah ordered, her mind already running through the battle plans they'd refined through countless simulations. Chief Thompson's voice carried a note of satisfaction. Their adaptive shields are cycling through frequencies, trying to prepare for conventional energy weapons. They have no idea what's coming. He paused, checking another reading. Quantum torpedoes are showing green across the board. The Council's sensors still can't detect them. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The quantum torpedoes were perhaps their greatest achievement, weapons that existed in a state of quantum superposition until the moment of impact. The Council's most advanced sensors would see nothing until it was too late. Through the viewport, she could see the fortress's defense platforms deploying, their elegant design a stark contrast to the utilitarian efficiency of human warships. The Council had always prioritized form over function, believing that true civilization required aesthetic perfection. They'd called human ships ugly boxes of metal. Those ugly boxes were about to teach them a lesson in function over form. Message from Admiral Patel, Rodriguez announced. The fleet is in position. All ships report ready for Phase 1. He hesitated, then added, The Admiral says she wishes she could see their faces. A quiet chuckle rippled through the bridge. Even in this tense moment, humanity's irreverent sense of humor remained intact. It was something the Council had never understood about us: how we could laugh in the face of danger, find humor in the darkest moments, use jokes to strengthen our resolve. Tactical analysis complete, Wong reported. Their defense grid is arranged exactly as our intelligence suggested. They're still using standard doctrine from their last major war, which was 3,000 years ago. She shook her head in disbelief. They haven't innovated their defensive strategies since before humans invented gunpowder. That was the Council's greatest weakness, their conviction that they had reached the pinnacle of development. Why improve when you believe you're already perfect? Meanwhile, humanity had never stopped evolving, never stopped questioning, never stopped looking for better ways to do everything, including wage war. Send the signal to begin Phase 1, Sarah commanded. Let's show them what evolution looks like. The fleet moved with perfect coordination, each ship executing its role in a dance they'd practiced countless times. The Council's fortress began launching its interceptors, sleek vessels that had dominated space warfare for millennia. They were about to face something they'd never encountered before: human swarm tactics combined with quantum warfare. Enemy interceptors approaching in standard formation, Thompson reported. They're not even trying to mask their energy signatures. Reading 200, 300 vessels. Sarah nodded. Deploy the drones. From the belly of every human ship, swarms of autonomous drones emerged, each one smaller than a fighter but carrying technology that would have been impossible just a few years ago. The Council had banned AI research, claiming it was too dangerous. Humanity had simply created something better, a hybrid system that merged human intuition with machine precision. The drones moved like schools of fish, their patterns too complex and organic for the Council's tactical computers to predict. The first wave of interceptors fired their energy weapons and hit nothing but empty space as the drones quantum shifted microseconds before impact. All drones functioning within parameters, Wong announced. The Council's targeting systems are completely confused. They're trying to adapt, but, she smiled, they literally can't compute what they're seeing. Sarah watched as the first phase of their attack unfolded exactly as planned. The Council's interceptors chased phantom targets, their sophisticated weapons useless against adversaries that seemed to defy the laws of physics themselves. But this was just the beginning, a demonstration of how far humanity had come and how badly the Council had underestimated them. Signal from the fortress, Rodriguez reported. There, They're demanding to know what kind of weapons we're using. The High Counselor says this is impossible." He paused, listening. "They're calling it a violation of natural law." Natural law. Sarah's voice carried a mix of amusement and contempt. "Send them this response. Humanity doesn't bow to your laws, natural or otherwise. We make our own." As she spoke those words, the quantum torpedoes armed themselves, preparing for the next phase of the battle. The Council was about to learn that their understanding of natural law was hopelessly outdated. Humanity hadn't just caught up to their technology. We'd reimagined what technology could be. The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, each person focused on their task, but aware of their part in the larger mission. They were making history, though not in the way the Council had expected when they first contacted Earth. Instead of submitting to alien authority, humanity was about to prove that the age of Council dominance was over. The fortress's main weapon array began to power up, its energy readings climbing to levels that would have terrified a less prepared opponent. But Sarah and her crew knew something the Council didn't. Every joule of energy they pumped into their weapons was about to become part of their own undoing. "All ships report ready for Phase 2, Rodriguez announced. "The drones have mapped their entire defense grid." Sarah straightened in her command chair, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of human determination. "Then let's show them what happens when you try to cage humanity." The real battle was about to begin, and with it, the future of human civilization would be forever changed. But exactly how that change would unfold remained to be seen, as the quantum torpedoes prepared to tear a hole in everything the Council thought they knew about warfare. The fortress's main weapon discharged, a beam of pure energy that could shatter planets. It lanced toward the CSS Vancouver, carrying enough power to vaporize a small moon. Sarah didn't flinch. She'd been waiting for this moment. "Quantum field generators at full power," Thompson announced, his voice steady despite the apocalyptic energy heading their way. "Ready to initiate Protocol Prometheus." The beam struck and split around the Vancouver like water around a rock. But this was no ordinary shield effect. The quantum field generators weren't just deflecting the energy. They were capturing it, converting it, transforming it into something the Council had never dreamed possible. Energy absorption at optimal levels. Wong reported, her neural interface processing the data streams faster than any organic brain could manage. "The Council's weapon is performing exactly as predicted. They're feeding us everything we need." Sarah watched as the fortress's weapon continued to pour energy into their trap. The Council's arrogance had led them to build bigger, more powerful weapons, never imagining that one day someone would turn that power against them. Status of the quantum matrix. 90% charged and climbing, Thompson responded. "Their weapon is doing all the work for us. 10 more seconds at this output, and we'll have enough power to initiate the final phase." Through the viewport, Sarah could see the Council's interceptors regrouping, finally giving up their futile chase of the quantum drones. They were forming up for a conventional assault, still operating on tactical doctrines that were outdated before humanity had invented the steam engine. "Message from the fortress," Rodriguez called out. They're demanding to know how we're surviving their main weapon. The High Counselor is threatening to unleash their entire arsenal." Sarah's lips curved into a grim smile. "Tell them we welcome it. The more power they throw at us, the stronger we become." She turned to Thompson. "Status of the quantum torpedoes." "All units charged and synchronized with the energy matrix, ready to execute on your command." He paused, checking another reading. "Captain, they're powering up their secondary weapon arrays. All of them." "Let them come," Sarah said, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's determination. "Every weapon they fire just adds to our strength." The fortress blazed with energy as its entire arsenal came online. The Council was about to commit their greatest tactical error, throwing everything they had at an enemy they didn't understand. Beams of destructive force lanced out from dozens of weapon platforms, all converging on the Vancouver and her fleet. "All ships reporting quantum fields at full power," Wong announced. "The entire fleet is ready to execute Protocol Prometheus." Her hands danced across her console, coordinating with the neural networks that linked every human vessel. energy absorption systems at maximum capacity. The space around the human fleet rippled with distorted light as thousands of energy beams were caught and channeled into their quantum matrices. What should have been an overwhelming display of destructive power had become the key to humanity's greatest technological achievement. Signal from Admiral Patel. Rodriguez reported. All ships report ready for synchronized quantum torpedo launch. They're awaiting our signal to begin the final phase. Sarah stood from her command chair, her posture straight and proud. This was the moment that would reshape the galaxy. Send word to the fleet. Prepare to execute Protocol Prometheus on my mark. The quantum torpedoes hummed with borrowed power, each one containing enough energy to tear a hole in reality itself. The Council had given them this power, unknowingly charging the very weapons that were about to change everything. Their fortress stood before them, its weapons still blazing, its defenders still believing in their superiority. Multiple quantum fluctuations detected within the fortress. Wong reported, her voice tense with anticipation. They're detecting something, but their sensors can't make sense of what they're seeing. They're about to understand, Sarah said quietly. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history pressing down on this moment. Humanity had spent centuries dreaming of the stars, and now they were about to prove they deserved their place among them. The fortress is changing formation, Thompson announced. They're trying to bring even more weapons to bear. Their power output is exceeding all predicted levels. Sarah nodded. They still think this is about firepower. Send the final warning to the fortress. Tell them this is their last chance to stand down. The response came almost immediately. The Council's arrogance remained unshaken, their belief in their own superiority about to be their undoing. More energy beams lashed out, all of them feeding into humanity's trap. Quantum matrix at 120% of calculated capacity, Wong reported, a note of awe in her voice. We've exceeded every simulation. Sarah's hand hovered over the tactical command interface. Around the Vancouver, space itself seemed to hold its breath. The Council's fortress blazed like an artificial sun, every weapon they possessed now trained on the human fleet. They thought they were about to demonstrate their absolute power. Instead, they were about to learn what happened when humanity was pushed too far. All ships, all crews, Sarah's voice carried across the entire fleet. Stand by for Protocol Prometheus. This is the moment we show the galaxy why humanity never surrenders, never submits, and never backs down. The quantum torpedoes pulsed with barely contained power, ready to unleash something the Council had never imagined possible. In moments, everything would change. The only question was, would the Council realize their mistake before it was too late? Space itself seemed to warp around the human fleet as they prepared to unleash their ultimate weapon. The fortress's defenses were about to face something that violated every principle of warfare they'd relied on for 10,000 years. The galaxy was about to witness what happened when humanity decided to rewrite the rules of reality itself. Just as Sarah was about to give the order to launch the quantum torpedoes, Lieutenant Wong's neural interface flashed with urgent data. Captain, detecting massive subspace distortions from within the fortress. This isn't in any of our intelligence reports. The fortress's crystalline surface began to shift, its elegant spires reconfiguring themselves into something new. Sections of the structure that their scans had shown as solid matter suddenly revealed themselves to be sophisticated weapon systems unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Multiple new energy signatures detected, Thompson reported, his fingers flying across his console. They're using some kind of phase-shifted technology. The fortress isn't just a fortress. It's transforming. Sarah's mind raced through the implications. The Council hadn't just been arrogant. They'd been baiting them, waiting to reveal their true capabilities. Status of Protocol Prometheus. The quantum matrix is destabilizing, Wong called out, her neural interface struggling to process the new data. Whatever they're doing, it's affecting the local quantum field. Our torpedoes are losing synchronization. Through the viewport, they watched as the fortress split apart like a blooming flower, revealing a massive energy core that pulsed with alien light. The Council's interceptors were taking up new formations, their movements suddenly more aggressive, more purposeful. Message from the High Counselor, Rodriguez announced, his voice tense. They say this is their true fortress, the one they built during the Dawn Wars. They're offering us one final chance to witness their full power and surrender. Sarah gripped her command rail, her mind already formulating a new strategy. The Council thought they had surprised us, thought they had countered our greatest weapon. But they had forgotten something crucial about humanity. We thrive on the impossible. Bridge to engineering, Sarah called out. Chief Rivera, tell me you're seeing this. The chief engineer's voice crackled over the comm, excitement breaking through her professional tone. Already on it, Captain. Their phase shift technology is advanced, but it's still based on fundamental quantum principles. If we invert our quantum matrix, we might be able to use their own transformation against them. How long? 3 minutes, maybe less if we redline the systems. Sarah watched as more weapon platforms emerged from the transformed fortress, each one more devastating than the last. The Council was putting on a show of force, trying to break humanity's will with their display of superior technology. They still didn't understand who they were dealing with. All ships, this is Captain Chen. Sarah broadcast to the fleet. Initiate emergency protocol Omega. Redirect all power to your quantum fields and prepare for close-range engagement. The Council wants to show us their true form. Let's show them ours. The human fleet began to move, adopting a formation that would have seemed suicidal to any orthodox military strategist. But humanity had never played by orthodox rules. As the Council's fortress continued its transformation, as their weapons charged up for what they thought would be a decisive strike, humanity prepared to prove once again why we had survived every challenge our species had ever faced. Chief Rivera to Bridge. Captain, we found something in their phase shift frequency. There's a pattern, a flaw they never expected anyone to notice. If we time this right. Sarah's eyes narrowed as she watched the fortress's final form take shape. The Council thought they had just revealed their ultimate weapon. Instead, they had just handed humanity the key to their own defeat. All hands, Sarah called out, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's indomitable spirit. Prepare for close combat. The Council wanted to see what humanity is truly capable of. Let's give them a demonstration they'll never forget. The CSS Vancouver surged forward, leading the human fleet in what appeared to be a reckless charge toward the transformed fortress. The Council's new weapon platforms blazed with energy, their phase-shifted beams distorting space itself. But Sarah had seen something in their attack pattern, a rhythm that spoke of ages of unchanging doctrine. Engineering to Bridge. Quantum matrix reconfigured. Chief Rivera's voice carried the edge of triumph. The inverse field is ready. They won't see this coming. Sarah's hands flew across her tactical display. All ships, synchronize your quantum fields with the Vancouver. Execute Protocol Omega on my mark. She watched as the fortress's weapons reached full power, its crystalline structure pulsing with energy that could shatter planets. Their targeting systems are locked on us, Wong reported, her neural interface processing the incoming data streams. They're committing everything to this attack. Let them. Sarah's voice was steel. Exactly as we planned. The fortress unleashed its full arsenal, phase-shifted beams of pure destruction racing toward the human fleet. But at the last possible moment, Sarah gave the command. Now. Every human ship activated their reconfigured quantum fields simultaneously. The Council's weapons struck, and instead of destroying the fleet, they created something unprecedented. The inverse quantum fields caught the phase-shifted energy, twisted it, and wove it into a new form of matter energy that physics said shouldn't exist. It's working, Thompson shouted, his displays showing impossible readings. The quantum cascade is stable. The space around the human fleet blazed with new stars as the Council's own energy weapons were transformed into quantum singularities. Each singularity pulsed in perfect harmony with the others, creating a web of distorted spacetime that began to envelop the fortress. Signal from Admiral Patel. Rodriguez called out. All ships report successful quantum conversion. The network is forming. Sarah stood tall on her bridge, watching as humanity's greatest gambit unfolded. Send word to the Council. Tell them what they're seeing isn't just a weapon, it's evolution in action. The fortress's weapon platforms tried to adjust, their phase-shifted beams only adding more energy to the quantum network that now surrounded them. The Council had never imagined that their own technology could be turned against them in this way. They had spent 10,000 years perfecting their weapons, never considering that someone might come along and transform the very nature of warfare itself. The fortress is trying to revert to its original form, Wong reported. Their phase shift technology is failing. But then something unexpected happened. As the quantum network tightened around the fortress, its crystalline surface began to resonate with the transformed energy. Instead of being destroyed, it started to change in ways that neither side had anticipated. Captain, Chief Rivera's voice burst through the comm. The quantum cascade. It's not just affecting their weapons. It's rewriting the fundamental structure of their fortress. The phase shift technology, it's becoming something new. Sarah watched in amazement as the fortress's surface rippled like liquid metal, its perfect crystalline form dissolving and reforming into patterns that defied description. The Council's greatest achievement was being transformed by the very forces they had dismissed as impossible. Message from the High Counselor, Rodriguez announced, his voice filled with disbelief. They're surrendering, but they're also asking for something else. They want to know how we understood their technology better than they did. Sarah smiled, but it wasn't a smile of triumph. It was the smile of someone who had just helped forge something unprecedented. Tell them the truth. Tell them that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to see possibilities where others see limits. The fortress had stopped its transformation, hanging in space like a new form of matter caught between states. What had begun as a battle had become something else entirely. A demonstration of humanity's unique gift for turning confrontation into evolution. All ships, power down quantum fields, Sarah ordered, but maintain position. I have a feeling the real work is just beginning. She turned to her bridge crew, seeing in their eyes the same understanding that had filled her own. The Council wanted to see humanity's true potential. Well, now they're going to help us explore it. The CSS Vancouver's quantum drive hummed quietly as the last echoes of battle faded away. They had come to fight a war, but instead they had sparked a revolution in the very nature of space, time, and possibility itself. The Council's fortress wasn't destroyed, it was reborn, and with it, the future of both species had been changed forever. Captain, Wong called out softly, I'm detecting new energy signatures from the fortress. They're inviting us to dock. Sarah nodded, understanding the significance of the moment. The Council had sought to teach humanity a lesson in power. Instead, they had learned one about transformation. As she gave the order to begin docking procedures, she knew that this wasn't just a victory. It was the beginning of something far more important. The story of humanity's confrontation with the Council would be told across the galaxy for generations to come, but it wouldn't be remembered as a tale of destruction. Instead, it would mark the day when two civilizations learned that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the courage to transform. As the CSS Vancouver's docking clamps engaged with the transformed fortress, Sarah thought about the journey that had brought them here. The Council chambers that had once been filled with crystalline arrogance now shimmered with new possibilities, the merged quantum technologies creating spaces that existed in multiple states at once. The meeting that followed wasn't just historic, it was paradigm shifting. The High Counselor, their crystalline form now infused with quantum-shifted patterns, addressed the human delegation with something that had been missing from all their previous encounters: respect. Your species, they said, their voice resonating with new harmonics, has shown us something we had forgotten over our 10,000 years of rule. True civilization isn't about reaching perfection. It's about never stopping the journey toward it. Sarah stood beside Admiral Patel as they exchanged not terms of surrender, but proposals for collaboration. The fortress would become a joint research station, where human innovation and council wisdom could work together to explore the new form of physics they had accidentally created. Back on the Vancouver's bridge, Sarah watched her crew begin the work of integrating their systems with the transformed fortress. Lieutenant Wang's neural interface was already communicating with the quantum-shifted council computers, sharing data at speeds that would have seemed impossible just days before. "Message from Earth Command," Rodriguez announced, smiling. "They're calling it the Quantum Accords. Every human colony has voted to accept the Council's proposal for technological exchange." Chief Rivera's voice came over the comm, filled with excitement. "Captain, you need to see what these quantum-shifted systems can do. The Council's engineers, they're like kids discovering technology all over again. They keep asking how we thought of using physics this way." Sarah smiled, remembering something her grandmother used to say about the greatest victories being the ones where both sides won. The Council hadn't just learned about humanity's potential. They'd rediscovered their own capacity for growth. "Multiple ships detected entering the system," Wang reported. "It's the Council's other fortresses. They're requesting permission to undergo the same transformation process." "Inform Earth Command," Sarah ordered, "and prepare to transmit the quantum matrix protocols." She paused, looking at her bridge crew, the people who had helped change the galaxy not through destruction, but through transformation. "Looks like we're going to be busy for a while." The stars shone steadily through the viewport, unchanged by the events that had reshaped galactic politics forever. Humanity had come to defend its right to exist among those stars. Instead, they had shown everyone, including themselves, that the greatest power wasn't in weapons or technology, but in the ability to see beyond the apparent limits of possibility. "Captain," Thompson called out, "the Council scientists are requesting your presence in the main laboratory. They say they've found something in the quantum patterns that nobody expected." Sarah stood from her command chair, straightening her uniform. The war that never was had ended, but the real adventure was just beginning. As she headed for the turbolift, she couldn't help but smile. The Council had called humans primitive, had tried to force them to submit to the natural order of things. Instead, humanity had shown them that the natural order was meant to be questioned, challenged, and transformed. The stars waited, holding new mysteries, new challenges, and new possibilities. And this time, humanity wouldn't face them alone. They had done what they did best, turned an ending into a beginning, a confrontation into collaboration, and limitations into possibilities. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly how it should be.